Hello everyone, welcome to Logo Learnings. So this video is a part 4, which is the last part of the second chapter of the Indian Economic Development Class 12 NCERT textbook Indian Economy 1950 to 1990. So here we are going to look at the role of the public sector and about the foreign trade. So what is a public sector? Public sector means anything that is owned, controlled and managed by the government. So the firm or the area which is controlled by the government is termed as or comes under the public sector. So the first Prime Minister of India was Jawaharlal Nehru, and he called public sectors as the temples of modern India. That was because the working of the public sectors was for the prosperity of the economy of the country as well as the well-being of the people living within the country. That means their motive was social welfare. Then the main objective behind the Indian development or the Indian economic development has been to combine growth with equality. So growth with equality, the movement of growth and equality simultaneously was the main objective behind the development of the Indian economy. Then what are the objectives of public sector? Objectives means the aims of the public sector that must be achieved. So the first one is to develop the economy. That means economic development is itself one of its main goal. Then finance for economic development. They provide the financial assistance for they provide the finance for the economic development, and they takes the first step for the development of the economy. Then to increase foreign exchange earnings, that means to increase exports. When the exports are increased, the foreign exchange earnings of the country increases. That means the financial situation of the country increases. To provide basic infrastructural facilities such as roadways, railways, waterways, airways, etc. So such facilities are increased and improved in the country. Then to ensure equality. Equality means in the case of regions, in the case of income, in the case of people, amongst different categories of people, different groups, maintaining unity and equality is also one of the objectives of a public sector. Then to balance regional development. To balance regional development means to reduce regional disparities or regional inequalities. That means by setting up of industries in backward areas, the regional disparities was reduced or the regional differences were reduced, and this brought the backward areas upward or lifted the backward areas, enhanced the living of the backward areas. Then to ensure equal distribution of wealth and economic power. So equal distribution of wealth means to provide equal employment opportunities and equal income to all the people, and economic power to give chance for all the people residing in the country. That means everyone has a chance to raise their voice and express their thoughts. That means equality is there. Then to achieve self-reliance. That means through enhancing and encouraging the domestic industries and reducing the imports. By substituting imports, that will lead to the increase in the production and productivity of the industries in the country and makes India self-reliant and self-sufficient of all the goods and services. Then the next objective is to provide employment opportunities. To provide employment opportunities means to enhance the living of the people, to provide stable employment to the people. This will reduce the inequalities in the case of wealth and income. Then the next topic is what is the role of public sector. Role of public sector means importance or what are the need for public sector enterprises. So provides a strong base for all the sectors of the economy. That means it provides a base for the development. It develops all the sectors of the economy. Then provides employment opportunities. So it's one of the main objectives, providing employment opportunities to all the categories of people living within the country. That means maintaining equality in the case of employment. Then development of backward areas by setting up of industries and other services in the backward areas. It develops or enhances and improves the people living style of the people living in the backward areas and enhances the standard of living or in such areas, in the backward areas. So the industrialization of such backward areas leads to the urbanization and modernization of the economy. Then promote exports and increases foreign exchange earnings. So promoting exports will automatically increase the foreign exchange earnings. So promoting exports means substituting imports. So substitutes imports, export promotion and import substitution. So import is substituted by the domestic industries in the country. So the substitution of imports encourages the improvement of and the development of these domestic industries in the country. Then prevents concentration of economic power and promote equality, as we have discussed in the objectives. So now we are going to look at the problems of the public sector, or the points opposing the public sector or against the public sector. So the first point is unprofitable pricing. So why is unprofitable pricing? That is because the main motive of a public sector is the social welfare and the well-being of the people and the prosperity of the economy. So they provide all the goods and services at a minimum price that is lower than the other prices of the other firms. So it is that is affordable to all the people, both the rich as well as poor people. So it is unprofitable to them. Most probably it is unprofitable to them. Then overstaffing, as the main objective is providing employment opportunities, they provide employment opportunities to a lot of people, which lead to overstaffing, and it is a burden to the government or the public sector because they have to provide salary to all these employees. Then underutilization of capacity, even if they are able to use their full capacity, they are not able to use it. That is one of the problems. So the underutilization of capacity is caused by the mismanagement of the public sector, as well as the existence of loopholes or mistakes in the public sector. Then high losses, as the social welfare is the motive, unprofitable pricing is kept. As a result, the chance for loss is high, and functioning of sick units is a drain on the nation's resources. So what are these sick units? Sick units means the units that provide huge losses to the public sector. So functioning of such units is a drain on the nation's resources. The public sector is criticized by saying these points, that the private sector could take over most of the areas, but the public sector still holds such areas, functions such areas. So even if they incur losses, their motive is social welfare, so they just take over such areas for the welfare of the people, and they are taking a burden of it. So if these resources are given away to the private sector, then there will not be any loss of the resources. So the public sector is just wasting the resources, and it is said that if the public sector is handing over such areas, creating losses to the private sector, then they will gain profits, the public sector can use these resources for the development of other areas, the functioning of other areas. Then creates a huge burden. So these the social welfare, as part of social welfare, this unprofitable pricing creates high losses, and overstaffing creates a burden to the public sector, and a delay in decision making. So as it's a process, a huge process, and a time consuming process, it delays in decision making. So those are the problems of the public sector. Then about the foreign trade. So what is the role of foreign trade? So what is a foreign trade? A foreign trade means, in simple words, we can define it as the buying and selling of goods and services between nations. So internal trade means inside the geographical boundary of the country, but foreign trade or international trade means buying and selling or trade between nations. So for the first 7 5-year plans, India adopted or opted inward-looking trade strategy. So that was a strategy that was adopted by India. Inward-looking trade strategy. That means developing the domestic industries, or the industries that are built in India, inside India, rather than importing. That means substituting import or import substitution. So this strategy is also called import substitution. So when import is substituted, a chance is given to the industries in India, or the home industries, to develop their activities, production and productivity. As a result, they will contribute a lot to the GDP and enhance and leads to the growth of the economy, and it will modernize the economy when they adopt the latest technologies and makes India self-reliant. So the next topic is a question: how import substitution? That means how imports are substituted, by which way, and import is substituted by what? That is, the domestic industries. The development of the domestic industries can substitute the imports. That means when the home industries, that means the industries of our own country is developing and enhancing their activities and increasing their productivity, that means that will reduce the need for import of goods. For example, in the case of a car, the production of a car, instead of importing those cars, if we produce the cars inside India itself, that means India will become self-reliant in the case of cars, as well as the need for imports will reduce. That means it will enhance, it will lead to the growth of the Indian economy and the development of India. So the contribution in the GDP will be increased in the case of such industries. So the government provided protection to domestic industries. That was the first way how they substituted imports. So the protection was given in two ways, by implementing tariffs and quotas. So what is tariff? Tariff means tax on the imports. So why did the government impose a tax on imports, or what was the need for that? Need for tariffs? That was because it enhanced the production of the domestic industries. That means when taxes are imposed on the imports, the prices of the such foreign commodities or goods in the Indian market rises. That means it makes the foreign goods and commodities expensive. As a result, people will shift their demand to the commodities or goods produced in India, which is much cheaper or cheaply available than the expensive goods from foreign countries. As a result, the need for imports will reduce, and the domestic products will be sold out, and this will lead to the development of the domestic industries and the growth of the Indian economy as a whole. Then what is quotas? Quotas means fixing quantity of goods to be imported. So the quantity of imports will be fixed by the government, and only that much amount of commodities will be imported to the country. Then made imported goods expensive. As a result, due to these policies like tariffs and quotas, the imported goods became expensive. Then protected domestic firms from foreign competition. As a result, they provided several financial assistance to the domestic industries by providing loans, subsidies, and some other ways. So this provided, or this made an incentive to the domestic industry so that they can focus on the areas where they needed to develop, and this provided the latest technologies to the people or to the industries. As a result, they could increase their production and productivity, and this led to the growth of the Indian economy. This modernized the Indian economy and made India self-reliant in the case of most of the goods or commodities in India. So these are the topics that we have discussed till now, and I hope this video is very clear, and please do watch the part 1, part 2 and part 3 of this chapter before watching this video, so that you can get a clear-cut idea about this chapter, and you can mention your queries in the comment section. And I hope this video is clear. Please do like, share and subscribe my channel, and press the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload a video. So thanks for watching. Have a nice day.